My name is Ethan. And this is the story of a letter that changed my life. Even though I never sent it. I was 22 years old when I moved to a new city. I didn't know anyone there. No friends. No family. No familiar faces. Just a small apartment, a part-time job, and a dream of building a better future. At first, everything seemed exciting. The city was full of opportunities. The streets were always busy. People seemed confident and successful. But after a few months, the excitement disappeared. I started feeling lonely. Very lonely. Every morning, I woke up, went to work, came home, and repeated the same routine. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. And somehow, I felt more lost than ever. One evening, after another long day, I sat by my window and looked at the city lights. Thousands of people were outside. Yet I felt completely alone. That's when I thought about someone I hadn't spoken to in years. My father. My father and I never had a good relationship. He wasn't a bad man. He worked hard. He provided for our family. But he rarely expressed his emotions. Growing up, I always wanted his approval. I wanted him to say he was proud of me. I wanted him to tell me I was doing a good job. But those words never came. Instead, he often pointed out my mistakes. My bad grades. My poor decisions. The things I could have done better. As a result, we slowly grew apart. And when I moved away, we barely spoke at all. Months would pass without a single phone call. That night, something inside me changed. I opened my laptop, created a new document, and started writing a letter. Not an email. Not a text message. A real letter. At the top of the page, I wrote, "Dear Dad." Then I stopped. For several minutes, I simply stared at those words. I didn't know what to say. There was so much anger inside me. So much disappointment. So many unanswered questions. But eventually, the words began to flow. I wrote about my childhood. I wrote about the times I felt ignored. The times I felt like I wasn't good enough. The times I wanted encouragement but received criticism instead. Page after page, I poured my heart out. For the first time in my life, I was completely honest. Hours passed. The city outside grew quiet. And when I finally finished, the sun was beginning to rise. I read the letter again. Then again. And again. Something strange happened. The more I read it, the less angry I felt. For years, I had carried these emotions inside me. But now they were on paper. No longer trapped inside my mind. I felt lighter. Calmer. Almost peaceful. The next day, I planned to mail the letter. But I didn't. Something stopped me. I folded it carefully. Placed it inside a drawer. And told myself I would send it later. Days passed. Then weeks. The letter remained in the drawer, unsent. A few months later, I received a phone call. It was my mother. Her voice sounded different. Quiet. Heavy. She told me my father had suffered a heart attack. For a moment, the world seemed to stop. I booked the first ticket home and spent the entire journey thinking about that letter. The letter he had never read. The words he had never heard. When I arrived at the hospital, I barely recognized him. The strong man I remembered looked smaller. Older. Tired. For the first time in my life, he seemed fragile. When he opened his eyes and saw me standing there, something unexpected happened. He smiled. A small smile. But a real one. I sat beside his bed for hours. At first, neither of us knew what to say. The silence felt uncomfortable. Then suddenly, he spoke. "Ethan." It was the first thing he said. "Thank you for coming." I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. Then he said something I never expected to hear. "I'm sorry." I looked at him, certain I had heard wrong. But he continued. "I know I wasn't the father you needed." His voice was weak. "I wanted you to be strong." He paused. "And somewhere along the way, I forgot to tell you that I was proud of you." Those words hit me harder than anything else. For years, I had wanted to hear them. 4 years. And now, here they were. Tears filled my eyes. Not because of the apology. Not because of the hospital. But because I suddenly realized something. My father wasn't perfect. Neither was I. We had both spent years waiting for the other person to make the first move. Years wasted because of pride. Because of fear. Because of silence. That day, we talked more than we had talked in the previous 10 years combined. We laughed. We shared memories. We apologized. And for the first time, we truly understood each other. My father recovered. Slowly, but he recovered. And a few weeks later, I returned to my apartment. The first thing I did was open the drawer. The letter was still there. Exactly where I had left it. I picked it up. Read it one final time. Then tore it into small pieces. Not because it didn't matter, but because I no longer needed it. The conversation I wanted had finally happened. Today, years later, I still think about that letter. The letter I never sent. And sometimes I wonder how many people are carrying words they never say. How many apologies remain unspoken? How many relationships remain broken because nobody wants to take the first step? If there's one thing this experience taught me, it's this. Don't wait forever. Don't assume there will always be more time. Say what needs to be said. Forgive when you can. And never let pride steal years from your life. Because sometimes, the conversation you're afraid to have is the one that changes everything. My name is Ethan. And that was the story of the letter I never sent. Thank you for listening.